Hello, ladies and gentlemen, witches and Wiccans. I'm only kidding. There aren't really any Wiccans listening. They didn't stomach us for more than about 2 minutes, would they? All that Wiccan bashing. Right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the No Holes Barred Witchcraft podcast. Today, we is talking about a subject that comes up every now and then. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Always an emergency. Always someone pulling on your trouser leg, saying, "Can I just have a word with you, please?" In private, when they rock up to you in an event or something after you've just done a class, and they say, "Can I just have a word with you a minute?" Now, Chris, do you think it's a good idea to get tattoos and stuff that you don't really understand the meanings of?
Certainly not.
Or is it just me that thinks that's really stupid?
Well, I worry about tattoos in general, but at the same time, because tattooing something onto your skin is an open doorway as far as I'm concerned. But
do you not like a tattooed man?
I do like a tattooed man, but he's an access point.
So he's just a tool.
Well,
and the tattoos are just a tool.
Definitely. But no, the to answer your question, I think that's the worrying thing, isn't it? More people buy tattoos that they don't actually understand because they look cool, like the whole chicken soup situation.
Oh, I don't know about that. I'm going to stop you there because I've seen some of the ones that our past clients have shown us, and believe you me, they don't look cool. They look chintzy.
Yeah, but some people like cool. Like. People think that's cool, though. That's the problem.
What, chintzy runes that aren't even real? They're just an amalgamation of a bunch of random runes all shoved together. It's the staves. The staves I always worry about.
Yeah,
because they can be very difficult to decode. The real ones can be difficult to decode and can be unreliable, like a French car. You don't quite know if it's ever really going to work or not. What electrics aren't working this week? Is it going to start? Is it not going to start? Do the windscreen wipers just go on themselves? You know, it does seem like a lot of stave magic does seem to be a little hit and miss, but when you've got stave magic which ain't really stave magic, it's just some artists banging a load of stuff together and making it kind of look like a stave and then sticking it on someone's arm, because it's always the arm normally.
Well, yeah, they've got to be seen when you've got a pint in your hand, haven't they?
Yeah, definitely.
You're down at the pub with your mates.
Right, so Are we both in agreement that it's not a very good idea to have stuff slapped on you that you don't really understand?
I think if you're a practitioner, you've got to be careful whatever you put on your skin to a certain extent, because obviously if you've not programmed what is being tattooed onto your skin, because obviously it's the process more than anything of how tattoos are done. The fact that that is drilling directly into your skin, blood involvement, etc. There is lots of possibilities for things to slip in at that point. So it's more a case of, if you've not planned that part or given a purpose to symbology that you have put on your skin, and you practice, I think that's the bit that's more concerning. Obviously for the mundanes, that's fine, because that's just a playground for you to play with, isn't it?
Well, pretty much all of the people that we find that get into trouble are normally mundanes, I think. They don't think that magic's really a thing, but they have this thing slapped on them, and then suddenly loads of bad stuff happens. They get a kind of creepy vibe from it. They look it up, and then they say, does this actually mean luck, or does this actually mean something else? And is it up the right way? I had that one guy at what was it? Was it one of the psychic fairs? I think it was. I think that was after I did the tarot class, and he kind of lingered. And I was like, oh, okay, he's lingering. He wants to ask a question that's personal. And he said, mate, I've got this tattoo, and yeah, basically my life's gone to shit ever since I put it on. And
Yeah.
I try to work out what it means, but I'm not entirely sure. And I looked at it, it was a stave. And I said, for a start, which way up's that supposed to go? Is it supposed to be pointing to you, or is it supposed to be pointing away from you? He's like, well, it's all to do with love. And I said, yeah, but is that lover pointing away from you? And by any chance, do you have no love? Do you feel no love? Are you basically a sociopath? Oh yeah, actually, that's what happened. That's the extent of my problem. So I was like, oh, okay, right, okay. So the waters are flowing in the opposite direction instead of flowing in. It's a flowing out. Can you see the error there? Oh yeah, I do understand the error. What do I do about it? Well, I think there's some sort of acid you can get that will burn it off, or you could modify it maybe and take the
Yeah.
chance. So I said, start having a little mess around, modify it with some black markers and stuff like that, and see what difference it makes. And I said, then if you're happy with the modifications and it's working, have it done permanently. Or you can always do the acid thing, but make sure you film it and send it if you're going to get your arm burnt by acid, because that'll be an amusing one for us two to look at, I think.
So at no point did you suggest the safe option of going and having it lasered?
Yeah, but I'm sure he's a tattoo enthusiast, so he probably knows about that. I was trying to make jokes and stuff
Oh,
because we
okay.
can't
You're trying to
we
be
can't
clever.
be too serious. We can't be too serious. All these witches that try to be too serious all the time, you know.
Well,
I think you need to have a little bit of comedy.
I don't think we can ever be accused of being that. So, I
No,
don't think people come to see us for our, you know, somber talks.
no, no, that's probably true. Okay, so go into tribal tattoos then, because tribal tattoos are something that evolved from some sort of tribe, clan, whatever. They might all have them, or they might all have the same one, or they might have kind of variations which might denote different parts of that community, like tribal elders, this, that, and the other. Is that different in your opinion? Can you respect that more? Do you think that that is kind of there's a magical process there, or do you think that that's a mistake as well?
I think you've got to be careful. I think at the end of the day, you've got to, from a most basic level, it's like anything else. So if you've done it with an idea in mind, a process in mind, then that to a certain extent is going to negate it. Like you going and having mum tattooed on your arm, um, isn't going to all of a sudden, without some serious tweaking, going to suddenly stand for mummification. Like I'm not going to accidentally, you know,
Oh, that's a really good one.
I'm
I
going to
never
have to.
thought of that.
Well, I've told you before, I love converting people's
Oh,
tattoos. But it would take a serious push to get there. Because obviously in the moment that you had it done, it would have been sentimental. The sentimentality would have gone into the process while you sat there being inked up. So, you've got a certain level of protection that comes with those sorts of tattoos. I think the ones that you worry about are the ones that you got, you were ill-informed about. So, you've gone and looked in a catalogue full of random symbols and you've got no idea of what they're for. And then you go and slap them on your body. I think those are the ones that are the more dangerous ones, or the ones that you've gone and had done in Magaluf that happen to be, a
Shagaloof.
Chinese takeaway
When
number
you're
written
drunk.
down your back while you're drunk. Like
And
those ones,
that's if you got off lucky.
yeah, you know. So those ones obviously are trickier than the kind of sentimental ones where someone will have put a lot of thought normally into a tattoo, unless are one of these people that just likes having them done. In which case they're probably thinking about the overall look. Again, I think that's where the dangers happen, where they go, oh, that swastika would fit in lovely there. There's just a nice space for it. Obviously, I'm being dramatic, but the to suddenly then not know, not necessarily the Nazi connotations, but the opportunities you've got from other influences. You know, the swastika is a perfect example of one that has many different uses in many different parts of the world. So isn't just going to be automatically anti-Semitism or whatever. But yeah, like it's those sorts of ones where they kind of go, oh, that looks good, or, you know, sticking a great big pentagram somewhere and then kind of not thinking about the consequences. You know, like our favourite boys, Sam and Dean, and their weird ass soul protection tattoo on their chest, was it? Is that what they had done?
Yeah, that's it, from Supernatural series.
Yeah.
It was something like that, yeah. This is earlier on, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm trying to think what it
Yeah.
was. It was for something like that, wasn't it? Was it for...
His protection, yeah. Yeah.
So,
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So here's the thing, right? So a lot of people listening will be a chuckling away thinking, ha, what sort of idiot tattoos something they don't understand on? Well, yeah, it does happen a lot. And then other people, of course, you might be thinking, well, you know, tribal tattoo. I can understand that. It's got some history, got some heritage, got some use, specifically designed. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Now, here's the one that will polarize people. And that is getting magical symbols that you do understand tattooed on, but don't have a huge amount of control over. It's a bit like that Elder Wand from Harry Potter is loyal to the most powerful practitioner.
yeah, exactly.
Because you might use that little symbol, that little unicursal hexagram, yeah, because you saw it in an Aleister Crowley book or some book on ceremonial magic, sorry. And you might think, that's cool, that's badass, that's got some history, I use that. But then what happens when someone takes advantage of that? What happens when you like these little kiddies that you know, they hang around in the bike shelters at Asda car park with their little flick knives, and then someone comes along and they think they're big boys and girls. They pull out their little flick knife, and someone punches them around the face, grabs the knife and stabs them with it. Because someone else is a bigger badass with knives than what they are.
Exactly.
And I can't help but thinking, if you put things like that on you, then what's gonna happen? So, have you got a little story? I remember you were saying something about someone that had something tattooed on them, and you said that wasn't a very good idea. What was it that they had tattooed?
Oh, I forget what it was called. It was something like that. It's not the it's not a thelema, is it? What is it called? The that weird hexy point star thing with the weird why can't my brain do what it needs to do?
Well, there's the universal hexagram, which we
That's the
actually
one.
sell on the website. Yeah, that one.
That one.
Yeah, ceremonial magic bollocks. Yeah.
So, but this was
Which I hate. I absolutely despise that symbol, because it's not a good symbol, and it doesn't. It's just in so many ways that I'm sure we could probably go into. It is just a poorly constructed symbol that I'm not even entirely sure whether it's an Aleister Crowley one. I think he might have used.
I think that is a Crowley one. I think that's what.
It's that sort of one where he makes something up and thinks, oh, here's a symbol that's been used a lot. Here's some magical, you know, stuff to do, you know, magic behind it. Here's the symbology of it. But I think I know better, so I'm going to mess about with it. I'm going to mess about with it and make some sort of back alley abortion Frankenstein's monster type situation.
So with this particular friend of mine, it was more a case of I was fully aware that he'd recently joined the whatchamacallit, the Freemasons.
Masons?
At that point.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, okay, well, I'm totally aware of the fact that you're not necessarily going to be wearing cloaks all the time. It's not that kind of arrangement. I said, so there are going to be people that have seen your skin, not just in the initiation parts. I said, so kind of like, you know, people are going to know what's on the middle of your chest. Bearing in mind, he'd got this tattooed directly over his solar plexus. And I was kind of like, you know far too much to have gone and done something as stupid as that. And he was like, yeah, but, I've got a plan. And I was like, have you? I said, you are aware that I could
Well,
turn
he
you inside
thinks.
out with that, right?
Well, he thinks that he's got the power over himself because it's his body and the symbol he understands, and it's a symbol that he uses. But it's not quite how it works, though, is it? That's the
No,
thing.
I think the part I hadn't mentioned before to you is the fact that I remember him designing the tattoo that covers his entire back, which is
Right.
Anubis, which
Oh,
works
okay.
directly opposite to the central point
Yeah.
of where Anubis's hands would cross, the other
Right.
side of his chest. So you think you've got this hexagram on the one side of his chest, and then where that would be positioned on his back is pretty much where the arms of Anubis cross. And I was just like,
Mm.
I get it. Obviously, I know far more about your body than the average person would, but at the same time, still, you didn't think about this when you were actually
Yeah.
putting this
When did he
together.
start get? When did he start getting black lung? Was it a couple of months after? We shouldn't laugh, really. God rest his soul. But
So far, he's okay, but
Anubis, Anubis has got him now.
you're just kind of like, you're very lucky that there aren't enough people about that would know what to do with that. But at the same time, even in the Freemasons, to be honest, let's face it, but you've only got to meet one. There's only going to be one
It
random,
only takes one.
and he takes
It
one.
only takes one. Like an STI, one of the
Yeah,
bad ones. It only takes
exactly.
that one time. That one time, kids.
That one.
Always use protection, magical protection, and bedroom protection.
So like it's one of those where because I have a lot of friends that like to ink up and spend a phenomenal amount of time planning them. They're not the sorts of people that will just slap anything on their skin. But when someone that has planned work and then puts something, he doesn't see the obvious, you then kind of, I said,
Mm.
obviously pointed out, if anything goes wrong, just let me know, and I might have to step in. But it was just kind of like, yeah. So obviously I don't have any ink. My body is virginally clean. It's about the only thing that's left virgin on me, to be honest. But um, I have several tattoos planned. I've never got round to actually having them done. So
What do you think would happen if you had a tattoo of an ankh put on you?
I'd probably spontaneously, humanly combust.
Do you think that, or do you think maybe like I don't know, you might get like some sort of skin cancer develop there, or maybe something comes along and rips off that part of your body?
Let's not test out the theory, okay?
Well, it could be an interesting one.
You
If
want?
we were going to experiment, what part of your body would you have that put on?
I don't know. I need most pieces of my body. Thank you very much.
Not even one of your toes, like one of the ones that aren't
No,
important. One of the ones that are like in between the others that you don't really use all that much.
no,
No?
no,
Oh, that's a shame. I wanted to know what would happen.
no. Let's
It'd
not.
be exciting.
Let's not.
I can't say I've never had I don't have a tattoo. There was a point when I thought, because I know quite a few people that have got tattoos and they seem to get addicted and always want more and more and more. I considered it at one point, but there was nothing that I could think, because I don't really see it as permanent either. Because I know they fade, but also you can get them removed. So I wouldn't necessarily see it as permanent. I'd see it as semi-permanent. And I can't think what I would want put on my body. That's the thing. I'm not necessarily against it. I just don't know what I would want put on.
Oh, I see. I'd planned ones, and I think the biggest part of it for me was it couldn't be anybody else's design. So mine are
Mm.
designed to the nth degree, and are perfect, if that makes sense. And no one
Well,
else.
you've drawn them,
Yeah,
presumably.
so no
Yeah.
one else would have exactly that tattoo. But yeah, I had a few things planned, but then things have just come up. One, they're very expensive. Um, and to plan the size of works that I'd got planned, I was like, I might not even like having tattoos done, let alone be able to sit to have
Yeah.
it finished. And if I started it, you know me, I'm not one to just decide to not go with it through to the end. So I'd just be, yeah. So, but no, I'm not saying they're not great. I love tattoos, particularly like people covered in tattoos. Got no issue with that. Particularly when people have gone to the effort of, planning their entire sleeve and how it all connects together, and that
Mm.
part of kind of body art fascinates me. I just don't think some people consider the option that they are opening themselves up to, because it's like anything. Also, I think the bit that they forget is there are lots of ways to tattoo the body without actually getting a tattooist involved. So, there are ways to leave wards and things like that all over your skin that no one can see, and therefore unlikely to be corrupted by passers-by.
What are you thinking, like some sort of oil roller, like what we said on the hashtag thothwitchcraft.com website? It says you can't use it on your skin, though, I've read in the description, so that we don't get sued. But I mean, it is essential oil based, those rollers, so technically you probably could.
Not what I had in mind. I had more kind of,
Okay.
you have other bodies available to you that you could tattoo.
Ah, I see. Right.
So when lots of people ask that question about cloaks, do you have a special
Hmm.
cloak? I said, I've got lots of them, but you wouldn't be able to see any of them.
So we've only got about 10 minutes or so left of the regular edition of the podcast. So in the extended edition, I do want to go into sort of sacred geometry, but also the question that a certain someone asked, our friend Lauren, because this is official Lauren month.
Oh yeah,
So
we
because
meant to mention that at the beginning.
we've neglected Lauren a little bit. So for the next 4 episodes of the podcast, for the whole of the month, every episode is devoted to Lauren and one of the things that she's asked. We've already planned them and we've already named them. And yes, Lovecraft Country will be one of them. Don't worry about that, Lauren. But you'll have to wait and see what we come up with. We've only named them, but as usual, we'll do them kind of off the cuff. We won't really plan what we're going to say. But I would like to go into now a little bit about sacred geometry, and then obviously how you would go about using someone's tattoos
Okay.
against them. So they do say that a picture says 1,000 words and a symbol shows 1,000 pictures. So what is this symbolic stuff? What is symbology? Right, you draw in a pentagram or a pentacle or some other kind of star, or I don't know, triple goddess shit where you've got 3 moons to symbolise the maiden mother crown on your cauldron or whatever. What's all this about? Why do you use it? What's the point of symbols? You got 5 minutes.
That was almost a setup. But yeah, it's one of those things. The whole point of symbols is for them to eventually be, in most terms, universal. So it's the idea that, like anything with names and like the word witch now, or the word pagan, they have the opportunity to say a lot more than one word, which is why they use the phrase "picture says 1,000 words," etc. So the idea is that you can boil down and synthesize down into a symbol a whole mythology, essentially, or a whole system can be boiled down into a symbol. And obviously that's the sort of thing that you do with sigil work. So where you're trying to put a process, a map, all of those things into a few lines, or as few lines as possible is normally the trick, depending on what your methodology is. But the whole point of those symbols is that they could be recognised by someone's kin. And obviously I use the word kin better than family or anything like that. That whole other parts of your group, whatever group that may be, would recognise. It's how one practitioner would necessarily recognise another. So the whole idea would be that you could, leave markings on your body that, so going back to tribal, certain marks on your body, you could not only tell what tribe or what army you were from, but also what your rank within that army might be, or that tribe may be. Those positions of different, and that could have been done with colour, with lines, with different shapes. And the whole point of that is recognition, really. So to actually be able to recognise one another at a distance, ideally, because things happen
like military uniform.
Yeah,
You
things
can
happen at so
identify
speed.
if it's a British military uniform or a French or an American, but then also within that, within that uniform, you've got the chevrons, you've got all of the different rankings and all that sort of thing. That is like a language that.
And like anything in the 20th century, 20th and 21st century, it's all been a watered down because we all live too wonderful a life over here in the West. So all that kind of earning of symbology or earning of particular skills and gifts has kind of gone to the wayside a little bit. So they've become slightly more decorative. And I think as things have become more decorative and less, utilitarian, is that actually that's where we've lost that connection of what those things mean. And I think that's down to kind of our usage has changed. We don't require them, like we say with witchcraft. Witchcraft once upon a time was for survival. That's it's another one of these parts of the mythology and the history and the tradition that has been lost because we no longer require them for survival, and that's where things feel more trivial, and that's why people don't look at them as they probably should.
Yeah, and it's all due to Sports Day. That's what's to blame. Well, when I was a kid back in the 90s, we had sports days, right?
Yeah.
And at Sports Day, I was really, really good at running and I was really good at like the athletic stuff, right? And we always used to get a gold certificate if you came first, a blue certificate if you came second. Why it was blue, I don't know, probably because they couldn't afford like silver ink. And then you had like a burgundy one, which I think was supposed to be bronze, but it was fucking burgundy. If you came third, and it said on it. And I remember the time when, because I was really shit at everything at school apart from Sports Day, I really excelled at that. That and manipulating the other kids, but you don't get awards for that.
No, I never got my awards for that.
Just in life. Yeah, just in life. So anyway, so I remember the time when they stopped with giving you first, second, third, and they just gave everyone the same certificate, and it said, "Well done for taking part." And I thought, what's all this bollocks? They aren't rewarding the winners, and they're just saying the winners is just as good as the losers, and all this crap about, oh, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. Well, if that's the case, I think I'll just loll about on the start lines, sunbathing maybe. I don't think I'm going to bother going to the end, because what's the point?
Oh, is that where they keep getting it's all about intention coming from too? Have you just boiled down the original place where that's come from? Sports Day.
It came from Sports Day at Parkwell Primary School.
Yeah. This idea that we've got to celebrate everyone regardless.
Yeah, everyone's just as good as everyone else.
People are no longer goal focused. Therefore, they don't get there as they should.
Yeah, that's it. Because they say that in witchcraft. I get accused of that in witchcraft. They say about being elitist and stuff like that. And I say, well, some people are better than others at magic and stuff. And that's just how it is. But anyway, we're out of time this week. So goodbye, everyone.